Today I have a very special guest for you. Today I have none other than James REMBERT, the Zillow killer. He is absolutely dominating his industry and has coached thousands of real estate agents how to do paid advertising the right way. In our time together, we covered some Facebook ad changes, but we also touched on what it actually takes to not have to run any paid advertising whatsoever. So I invite you to sit back, relax, and start taking some notes because there's some key aspects that James goes through that you absolutely don't want to miss. And if you implement these concepts in your business, you're gonna be surprised at how little you need to spend in advertising altogether. All right, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have a very special guest for you. I have James, the absolute, the one and only Zillow killer. I wanted to bring James onto the channel because there's a lot of different things happening with Facebook, and James is an absolute expert, and I want you to hear something a little bit different in this channel other than my voice. So James is somebody that knows his stuff inside and out. He runs campaigns all over the country, in multiple countries as well. So he's somebody that I absolutely trust when it comes to getting you the updated information that you can use, apply, and deploy in the most easiest fashion. So James, how's it going?
All is well, all is well.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time. I know that you have an incredibly packed schedule, so I really am appreciative of that. James, jumping right into it again, we're talking about the Facebook ad changes because there's plenty of them. Overall, what would you say the latest changes that Facebook has had have done to our regular ad spend or regular advertising? How has that been?
I mean, with the ISO change, other than you using the audience structure, I think the biggest issue when it affects, or who it affects, are those that are going after cold audiences. Like if you're going and you're building it just as the typical of not building awareness first, that's the problem, right? As long as we're building awareness, I mean, you know the strategy I always talk about is amplifying the message, and that's what ads do. As long as we stick to that, that's not a problem. Now, yes, there are, we've had the, and I can't think of what it's called now, but Facebook always had a feature that the consumer can choose if the advert can be seen or not, right? Mm-hmm. Even now, inside Facebook, just generally, and it's always been there. If a person say, no longer show me the ad, Facebook literally removes them out of that audience, right? So these features they've always been there, right? I think there's just more awareness to them. So as of affecting us, it's not that big of effect, especially when you understand the platform, you understand the strategy, you understand the structure of we build awareness, engagement, and attention first, and then we work our way down.
James, I'm so glad that you went there because this is something that I harp a lot in this channel. We need to stop thinking in one singular ad, although I do provide a ton of ad copies for all the viewers to deploy in their business. I always attach it with the caveat of this ad alone is not going to cut it. This ad alone needs to be complemented with, as you're mentioning, awareness, building that engagement. And if you operate in a singular mentality of just launching one ad and expect it to do everything, then be prepared to fail. So I like the fact that you brought in there's a structure to this. So this means that we need to start thinking in campaigns as opposed to just one singular ad. So James, talk a little bit more about what you do when you're working with real estate agents to build some of that awareness.
Well, I mean, helping people understand that advertising and marketing are two different things. I think, unfortunately, most people, we can see the congruency in that, but we don't understand. They're just cousins, right? They're not the same thing. And whenever we mix the two together, we miss the opportunity of when to advertise, right? Because marketing should always be the starting and leading component. Marketing is all about the attention. It's all about the awareness. It's the engagement. What marketing gives us the ability to do is to decide the wants, the needs, right? We advertise the wants and the needs, but we advertise the want and the needs to those that are aware and those that are listening, right? And then we get into the advertising side, which now we talk the funnel structure, right? We have top of funnel, marketing, attention. We move into mid funnel, advertisement, amplification, right? And the goal is to get us always to the bottom, conversions, right? Once we've built the attention and we built some awareness, we have some perspective on who we're talking to and what do they want, right? Then we can choose and follow me, choose to advertise. Advertising is a luxury. It's not mandatory. It's optional, right? And I think we have this interesting narrative that our industry have been perpetuated, that you have to advertise, you have to advertise. That's not true. It's not a true thing. It's a luxury. If you do, you have to market. Yes, that's mandatory. You have to market. But advertising, no, you don't have to advertise, because the goal is to move them down the funnel structure. We go from top of funnel to bottom funnel. If I can get you from top to the bottom funnel without exhausting or using or even, worrying about the mid funnel, that's the game. That's the game overall. So like I said, as long as we can understand, when we talk advertisement is amplifying the message. Advertisement is the luxury, and it's optional, never mandatory. And that's coming from an advertising agency. It's not a thing you need to do, because our fiduciary responsibility is to protect what's called the ROAS, which is the return on ad spend. How do I know based off the return on ad spend if I don't know who I'm talking to?
There's so much in there, James. So there's so much in there. And I want everybody to pause for one quick second. So at the intro, that's something that you know what James does. And a lot of you that are watching this channel have seen his stuff on Facebook, and are going to see his stuff a lot more on YouTube, hint, hint. So you do need to follow his channel down below, so you know what James does. So he has a marketing agency, an agency that helps real estate agents get leads from a paid perspective. So that is what his business is. But take note of what he just mentioned to you. You don't have to, you don't have to do advertising. So what marketer is going to tell you that? Outside of me, I've told you that plenty of times. So I want to go ahead and include myself on the right side of history, if you will. But when it comes to the marketing, when it comes to the advertising part, he has a vested interest in saying, yeah, run ads all day, every single day, but he's not giving you that, because it's as James alluded to, it's a luxury, if you will. If you don't have, and actually we were talking about this right before we hit the record button, James, if you don't have the infrastructure behind you, what are you going to close? What are you going to close? Are you prepared to do the follow-up? Are you prepared to do the emails? Are you prepared to do the messages? If you have the messenger bot, you prepare to do the texting. If you're not prepared to do that and expect people to just call you because they saw your awesome ad that, either whether James runs them, I run them, you run them, doesn't matter. If you expect them to call you immediately and work with you 100% of the time, then you're not living in reality. So what I really like about the message that James has to share, and then I'll get off my my whole soliloquy, is the fact that as you're building this awareness, you're building a community. So when you're going from the top of funnel and you're presenting your way in the way that you should present yourself, i.e. as yourself, you're moving people from the top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel. There you have a client that's attached to you instead of just a advertisement that is fleeting, and they have no attachment to you. There's no loyalty in that regard, and you have to work double time because guess what? You just spent hundreds of dollars to get that lead. I know I went all over the board, James, so you're gonna have to
that's
sometime.
That's common with what you just said. Like, I mean, you can't imagine how heartbreaking it is to hear, I got a database of 6,000 leads. For what? Like what do you do with that? And the question is, I have all these leads. What do I do now? Well, that's the problem, because you didn't do what you were supposed to do in the beginning, and it's not your fault. The problem is these software companies that have perpetuated this message that we need to advertise. It's like, we try and help people understand, the ecosystem of advertisement and marketing has twofolds. There's a duality. There's a push, and then there's a pull method, right? Mm-hmm. We all know what the push method is. We pay to get our message out. Well, pushing aligns with just the physical aspect of it. Unauthorized push is offensive. If you just walk up and push me, we got a problem, right? And it's the same thing as yell, and then our method, our theory is yell louder. right? And if you can't hear me yelling louder, let's remarket it and yell some more. That's all we're doing. When we understand pulling, right? Which again, video is essential. That's the first thing I'll say, because people are like, well, how do I pull? Video is essential. You have to do video. If you're not going to do video, nothing else matter. The other option is audio, either video or audio. You choose one, but those are the two where information is being consumed at its highest. When you're putting yourself out there where a person can actually hear who you are, give some context to who you are, not the realtor, right? The person. If I can hear the person, I have some, there can be some buy-in, because there are two ways that people consume content, right? It's emotion or agreed upon value. And unfortunately, we've heard the terminology, you have to produce content. So we've dismissed it as if it's not important, right? It's like, oh, I don't know how to do content. You do. You just choosing not to. And yes, putting yourself on video is uncomfortable. But when you do it, the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more a person can buy into you. And what happens is people begin to have some likability to you, right? That know, like, and trust factor. I'll take that even deeper. The people we like, we listen to, but the people we love, we buy from. And it requires me to know who you are first, and then tell me, what do you do, right? You do that enough, and if you choose to amplify the message, now you're talking to people that's actually liking you, and you're just leading them through the sequence of loving you now. We gotta think romantically. We're thinking, how do I get to a person? How do I get to a point where a person believes in me, that they're willing to invest either money or more time? That has nothing to do with advertisement at all.
That's so perfect. That's so perfect. I know we started talking about the Facebook ad changes, but really what you're mentioning right now,
it wouldn't even matter what they change.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter. You're absolutely right. What you're sharing right now is so instrumental that just bringing in a recent change. Well, maybe a year ago, it's not that recent, but when the special ad category was introduced, had you been doing what we're talking about right now, you didn't see a blip. And in the comment section, James, for the longest times, like, oh, Facebook is dead. It's like, why are you uploading this? Well, no, it's not. It's dead for you because of how you're marketing. But for us, we actually saw a better return, because guess what? That flushed out all of the people that were just doing the singular mindset of just running one ad, and it worked great, awesome, because they were able to hit the easy button, was what I called, where back in the day you were able to do the likely to move or moving soon button. I think that was gone in 2017. You might need to correct me on that, James. But all of those changes, regardless of what they were, wouldn't even factor in had we gone into the approach of what you're sharing. So one of the things that I want to really hone in on is the video aspect. James, I hear it time and time again. I don't like the way that I look on camera. I don't like the way that I sound. I don't know what to say. What do we need to hear to get us over that hump?
Well, first, there's nothing you can do about that, right? There's the way you look and the way you sound is just what it is. Those same, whatever defects you see, the same people see it when you are talking to them. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it changes because you can't see yourself. It's like saying that is like when kids close their eyes and think they're invisible, right? It's the same type of analogy, right? But once we get to a point where we've accepted the way we sound and the way we look, I can attest and tell you that the market will buy from a chipped brick and a bent nail. Like it's not about being perfect; it's about being a person. That's it, right? And the sooner we can recognize that and get rid of the illusion and the camouflage suit of I'm Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, and tell me who you are as a person, we're always going to struggle with that. And that's the biggest problem people have when it comes to video. The lack of clarity. Our leaders haven't taken that behavior shift to tell us clarity is important. The person is important. It's a belly to belly business, belly to belly based business. The person is more important, right? The accolades, what you've done, that's not important right now. That's important to maybe the industry, but the industry is not your client. The market is your client. And the market, if they can see who you are and they can hear who you are, I promise you, the more you can be unapologetically you, the market will begin to adjust to who you are.
That's powerful. That's powerful. That's something that we get sold a bill of goods every single time we opened our email, right? So here's the, hey, are you prepared to, what's the one that I just got actually before we logged on? It was from LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, if you have the premium, they'll give the email away to the advertisers. Are you prepared to, do you have the bandwidth to have 15 to 20 more clients every single day? I mean, people's pitch is getting more and more egregious, James.
I mean, we talked about what that is, right? There's a culture of people that think that's smart, that's clever, right? It's just like you meet a person, and we've seen it just in Clubhouse, and vendors come in and say, they'll come into a room where they know agents are, and they'll say, how do I get agents to work with me? Who are you? Let's start there. Who are you? Nice to meet you. Who are you? I don't care what you do yet, right? Who are you? Because your service, I can get it anywhere. That's the thing we forget. The consumer don't have to hire you to sell or buy a house. They can call anybody. That's why they need to know who you are, right? And the same thing goes with services and vendors. Who are you? And that's what the internet is given, right? When we accept that the internet is a presence, not a destination, we understand that these platforms that we're on, from YouTube and everything you name, have given us a unique ability to distribute and communicate our message, truly who we are. And that's the fastest buy-in.
Yeah, no, that's powerful. You mentioned Clubhouse. So I want to get in here. I know we started from Facebook, but I think that this is powerful enough to where people that maybe have heard about it. I really want to dig into there for a quick second, because you mentioned doing some video, and you could do video. All platforms at this point, with the exception of Clubhouse, will allow video, right? You have LinkedIn, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, of course, you have YouTube, you have all of the platforms that are very video based. So whether you're ready or not, you need to jump into it. So that's point one. But let's talk about the audio side of things, because this Clubhouse thing, thanks to you showed me the light on that. And we can get into that at another interview or another conversation, but talk to us a bit about Clubhouse, and if real estate agents have been on the fence of reaching out to get that invite to be on, why should they seek out that invite so they can get into the platform?
I think, again, a lot of people run from what they don't understand, right? We demonize the things we don't understand. It's just a human thing, and it's interesting, right? But again, as long as we can accept what the internet is, that it's a presence, software like Clubhouse are very, very useful, because it falls into the consumption of content, right? Content is highest consumed, video and audio. The unique part about Clubhouse, it's operating at a 2021 structure in a sense of how the internet is moving. Our attention span is short, 6 seconds. So it's leaning into the ephemeral, where the talks are, you either are part of it or you missed it, which creates the FOMO, right? But the cool part about that is, regardless of where you stand at, and I always share it with people, there's a scripture that talks about out of the mouth speaketh the heart, right? If you have something to say, I can hear you. If you're about to BS me, I can hear you as well. But Clubhouse has been the amazing equalizer, where there are no filters. There's no influencers there. There's value, or you're just there, right? There's either you're consuming value or you're giving value. And the industry has a very unique place to talk beyond the typical, I'm great. How can you help these newer agents? Or how do I connect with somebody that may be in the area that I might need help with, right? Just the referral network. We've seen millions and millions of referrals go, because I don't have to guess about the person anymore. I just listen to him or her talk. I just spoke to them. Intimacy, I built rapport. And in that time frame of a few minutes, people are passing. Oh, I like you. Here, I got a referral out in your town. Do you think you can help them? Just that quick. Because we can actually communicate this information. No, it's not subjective anymore. There's no misunderstanding. I can talk to you. And that's the problem that a lot of agents have. Like I said, as long as we can communicate, and as long as we can be comfortable with who we are, communication is a lot easier. But if we can communicate, we can sell. We don't have to sell when we can communicate, right? So Clubhouse is given a unique ability that enhance the intimacy level where you can hear a person. Look, we've been a couple days now, and I already told you, like we like this. This is like brother right here.
Yeah.
Just this is what it's like 4 or 5 days, and that's how fast it expedites the process. Logically, it doesn't make sense, but we forget we live in 2021 where the internet is a presence. It's not a destination.
And that's something that really stuck out to me. It's not a destination. It's not a destination. There's many things that I could quote you on just in this brief time that we knew of each other earlier on. But as far as getting into this friendship, this is something that was really amplified through the platform. So it's a powerful thing to build, and people call it networking, but just it's a connection.
Exactly.
So connecting with people, and at bare minimum, I know that time is of the essence for everybody. So the last thing that agents want is another thing to do, right? Mm-hmm. So the one thing I really want to petition to you as somebody that was not an advocate of Clubhouse, I'll just be completely upfront with you. I think I even have a video saying, I don't know, I'll just see what happens. But at this point, we were talking about scheduling, something every single day because it's that powerful. One thing I want to encourage the viewers right now is to check in. And if you want to be intentional with it, fill out your profile, have conversations, and you're going to be surprised the amount of deals, as James mentioned, that are there for you. If you're the type of person, I shouldn't say nothing wrong with it. Let me just leave it this way. If you're the type of person that only wants to go to see what they can get, honestly, you're going to make a killing, to be honest with you. But I'd encourage you to go from a place of contribution. But even if you're on the other side of the fence where you're just seeing what you're going to get, there are so many referrals on stage in that middle section, friends of the on stage. There's so many referrals everywhere else. So if you need that motivation to go out and get that invite, and if I can, I guess, ethically bribe you with the fact that there's referrals out there, even if you see no other benefit of being there, give it a chance for that one aspect alone. Is that fair, James?
That's very fair. I mean, I don't penalize people for running their business. I think we have a way of doing that. Like, we're entrepreneurs. We have to sell stuff. We have to make money. Other than that, it's just a hobby. So what's the point, right? I just think there's class to, or there's some class to selling. Right? It falls in line with communicating. If I see value in who you are, I'll be willing to buy into what you want or what you have. Right? And that's the thing we miss, and that's marketing.
100%. James, the time has gone absolutely quickly. I promised I'd get you out at a respectable time. You've been more than gracious in fitting us in. One thing I wanted to say is absolutely follow James on Clubhouse and anywhere, Instagram, like the Zillow Killer. And I'll link everything down below. But I want you to, so please follow him, engage with him. He is the real deal, somebody that I personally look up to, somebody that is crushing the industry altogether. He's crushing a multi-billion-dollar company as well, so hence the name. But one thing I wanted to give you the opportunity to share a bit more insight on, James, is your YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel is one. What can we expect from the content when people go and check you out over there?
I definitely will be giving you guys some advertising tips, but we'll be diving deep into some marketing philosophy, some tech anthropology, and of course, like I said, advertising tips. And my focus is not to motivate. I just want to impact you. Like, if I can push impact, you'll take action. And taking action, one of the things we try and help people understand is we have to get to a point in life we declare what we want in action. That's the game. Not perfect. Declare what you want in action. Take action, and you'll get better, right? That'll happen. But if you don't take action, the one thing people forget is the clock is not going to stop ticking. And now you have to pick up the pace when you realize you're 70, 60, 80 years old, realizing the opportunities that you could have had, and you got still life to give. Now you run to play catch up. You don't. Declare what you want in action now. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. And those are the things we're going to be pushing in the channel. And like I said, I just live by a simple philosophy. If I can help you understand that the unprepared will always get abused, job done.
Bam. I almost feel dirty for adding to it. I almost feel bad for adding to it, James. But the one thing that I want to say to the audience right now is, if you're a fan of this channel that's completely non-salesy, it's giving you the facts, it's giving you value, and at some point, I mention this all the time, James, so bear with me, 99.99% of the audience that's watching this will never work with me directly. And that's okay, because that would mean that there'd be a monetary exchange there. But that is completely okay. So if you're a big fan of this channel, which many of you are, highly encourage you to go and subscribe to James's channel, because it's absolutely, at the risk of sounding like a brown noser, it's actually better than my stuff.
No, you're gonna be helping me. So there's gonna be a lot of correlation, you guys. Like I got the big boy helping me, so I'll be all right.
I appreciate that. James, well, hey, thank you so much. Where would be, if they had to choose, where would be the best place to connect with you?
The Facebook group is the easiest one. If you look up, go on Facebook and look up Zillow Killer, one word. It's a safe zone we built for real estate professionals. Nothing to sell there. No one coming in. It's only real estate professionals only. Doesn't matter what part of the industry you're playing in. If you're a real estate professional, you're welcome. We don't welcome anything else in there. No predatory marketers. No, none of that. We just go in there. We provide value. We network. We meet. We connect. And like I said, my goal is to create an environment that you can hear truth, and you'll hear from somebody that's okay speaking truth to power. I'm not intimidated by nobody out here at all. And I don't need new friends. I'm okay. If you don't like me, that's fine, because I wake up every day liking myself. Your like is extra.
I wake up every day like, man, I'm going to start writing a book for you. I like it. James, hey, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.